We want to turn our attention to another big case making headlines right now. Ex-NFL player Zac Stacey is out on bond this afternoon after he was arrested late last week after a video posted online appearing to show him attacking his ex-girlfriend Kristen Evans. Now, the video, which Evans shared on her social media, was taken from a surveillance camera inside her Florida home and appears to show Stacey punching her in the head and then throwing her into a television while their 5-month-old son lay just feet away. Now, we're going to show you the video, but before we do that, we want to give you this warning. It is very disturbing. It is very violent. If you have any kids watching right now, take them out of the room immediately. We're only going to play this video once, and then we're going to dissect it very carefully, but it is quite disturbing, quite graphic. And again, this came from the cameras positioned in her home, and there are 2 different angles of it you're about to see. Let's take a look.
Listen, you think that was okay? Now I do not. Please, please, please.
You thought that was okay? And then gonna ruin relationships and talking about I'm destructive?
Listen. Things are way different now.
Just disgusting to watch that. Now, the former Jets running back has been charged. He is charged with aggravated battery and with criminal mischief. They are both felony offenses in the state of Florida, where this incident is alleged to have occurred. Again, he is out on bond this afternoon. I want to bring in, for some discussion on this, criminal defense attorney Mark O'Mara. He is standing by with us live in Orlando, Florida. Mark, I have so much I want to ask you about here. First things first, with respect to the charging, when I was watching this, and I'm seeing that little baby, and the first time I watched it, I had to play it again and again to notice where the baby was. The little 5-month-old son is in the corner, the bottom left-hand corner of the video, and it was kind of hard to see with our framing just now, but he is within feet from where all this violence is happening. I kept thinking, well, first of all, if I saw this case come across my desk, if I was a prosecutor, I would tack on a charge that has to do with endangering that child's welfare, because the child could have been hit too and felt some of that residual effect with the child's mother being hit in such close proximity. Is there any charge like endangering the welfare of a child or something, somewhat of an equivalent you could think of that you think would be appropriate here to add on?
Yes, and I think there will be. Remember that right now he's being charged by law enforcement with the offense, but it's the prosecuting office who's going to look at this case and decide what to charge in full. That's what he will stand trial on. So obviously we have aggravated battery. I would anticipate that the prosecutor will charge several counts of the aggravated battery, because with each individual hit, in addition to throwing across the room into the TV, those are individual counts of aggravated battery, so I would anticipate that coming. Obviously, domestic violence battery, and yes, endangering a child, or in effect, child abuse by exposing the child to violence is another charge that I would contemplate. You know, back in the days, a long time ago, when I was a prosecutor, I look at a videotape like this and say that everything that I can think of charging him with, he should be charged with, because of the violent nature, the look in his eye, the ongoing behavior. And yes, I would imagine we're going to have several charges before this is done.
Mark, thank you for mentioning that. You read my mind. You read my mind. And we think alike. Anyone who has served as a prosecutor, you think that way. You're going to analyze it action by action. As you said, every single hit would be a separate crime. It's not just one crime that would cover all of that violence. And as you were talking, I wrote down something. You mentioned DV battery. Is there something in Florida that covers a battery in the context of intimate partner relationships?
Yes, there is. It is handled slightly differently. A simple battery is a first-degree misdemeanor, a year in jail. DV battery is also a year in jail, but it is handled by separate prosecutors, normally in a domestic violence arena. And also the penalties are much, or can be more severe, looked at as more severe. Now, with this case, with either the cause of great bodily injury or the threat of cause of great bodily injury. We're now talking about felonies, so this is all going to be handled in felony court. But the additional conditions are what we call a batterer's intervention program, much more strict conditions of probation, a greater potential for incarceration because of a video like this and the action. So yeah, this is going to be handled by a particular division in the state attorney's office.
Right. Mark, I'd like to ask you about something else that came up with his initial court appearance. And the magistrate judge who he went in front of to be arraigned initially on the charges as filed by police said that he also knew that there was a temporary injunction against him. And I know they're called different things in different states. Where I practice, they're called protection from abuse orders. Some states call them restraining orders. Essentially, somebody who says they are a victim of domestic violence can go to a civil court and get this protection order put into place, and then it can have criminal ramifications if it's violated. Share with us what is important to know about temporary injunctions in the state of Florida, if you would, please, Mark.
Sure. So they're called temporary because they are issued without notice to the other party. So she presumably went to a courthouse and said, this is what happened to me, swore out an affidavit, signed it as true. A judge reviewed it and entered the injunction. But because it's done without hearing from the other side, it's called temporary. Then there is a review date or a return date where we come back to a hearing to determine whether or not the injunction should be kept in place. Now, I will tell you, in that case, of course, this defendant will not be able to testify at that hearing. I would never recommend any testimony because that's just another statement from now, not only the injunction defendant, but a criminal defendant. So I would anticipate the injunction is going to be made permanent, a year, 2, 3 years, or actually permanent. And that has its own criteria, meaning if he violates that, it's its own separate misdemeanor offense. But remember, he's now under 2 separate restrictions. One, this temporary injunction, stay 500 feet away from her, don't go back to the residence, don't contact her, don't text her, don't have any third-party contact with her. And separately and apart, as a part of her conditions of release on the criminal case, he also has no contact with the victim as a condition of release as well. So in effect, both judges will be watching him.
Right. Mark, let me please ask you about something this judge did. The magistrate judge he initially went in front of set Zac Stacey's bond at $10,150, which he posted. That's how he's out this afternoon. I thought that bond was way too low. Tell me your thoughts on the bond and whether or not you think it fits with the allegations, please.
So, Julia, I agree with you. It seems low for a number of reasons. One, you can't look at that video and not realize that there were a number of felonies committed, and then just the violence, just the domestic violence that occurred. Also need to take into consideration the balancing between a bond guidelines that are out there to suggest for this type of a felony on the bond schedule, $10,000 is about appropriate. The other $150 was for the criminal mischief. But you also want to look at the person, and presumably with an NFL career, he's got a few dollars left in his bank account. And if I was the judge, I might have enhanced it just to let everybody know, particularly him, that how serious this was. So a $50,000 bond, something in that range, would not have been untoward, realizing his financial abilities. But again, balance it with a schedule that suggests it's not supposed to be punishment. It's supposed to make sure he shows up in court. That's the reason for a bond.
Right, exactly, Mark. Very, very well said. Is something that was concerning to me, while the magistrate judge made it clear that there were no prior convictions that Zac Stacey has. He's got a clean record. He's got a big goose egg in terms of any kind of prior record score. However, he said in the indictment, which is all those paragraphs we see with criminal offenses, and you see the narrative laid out by the police. And these police officers made a point to include the fact that they have a history of violence in the relationship at his hands, that he is the abuser, according to the victim in this case. And according to Kristen Evans, she said this has been going on for a long time in her relationship. They share the child together. And the judge was aware of that. So to me, that's what I always found to be so frightening about these cases because they're crimes of violence, yet they're crimes of secrecy. They're very manipulative. It's happening behind closed doors, yet on paper, he looks perfect. It looks perfect that he has no history, but yet this has all been kept a secret. And if the court knows, that's where I had difficulty with it, Mark, that if the judge knows, okay, look, this has happened time and time again. If he gets out, we don't want this happening again. And we know the most dangerous time for a victim is when there is a severing of that relationship with the batterer. We don't want her being in jeopardy now. That's what horrified me at that bond being set so very low. Your thoughts on that information being included by police in the affidavit?
Well, I agree with you completely, and that might suggest an increase in the bond. The dynamic of domestic violence is very insidious. We know in this industry that if you get stopped for a DUI, you've probably been DUI about 100 times before, just the luck of the draw. With a domestic violence event, when it finally gets to the point where police are called, we know that it's happened many, many times before on average because the context within which a domestic violence occurs, normally it's the more powerful, the man against the woman, and it's that hit you and apologize, hit you and give you roses, hit you and give you this, apologize that it was another reason. And in effect, it causes the environment in which that domestic violence can and does continue. And look, if it wasn't for these cameras, we would have an argument between two people without the video documentation of it and may not have gone where it's going now.
Exactly, Mark. Exactly. You're exactly spot on with this. And to your point, this is a great point to end this segment on. With domestic violence, you're right. Victims just want it to stop. They love the batterer. They just want the violence to end. And a lot of times they think it's their fault. They make excuses for the batterer because they love them, understandably so. They just want the violence to end. Mm-hmm. And here I saw something that really broke my heart about this. Kristen Evans, the victim in this case, was talking about how she hopes that Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner, of course, will take some steps to help players who've played football and then go on and experience angry outbursts and aggressive behavior after the fact, that changes can occur to their character. And something I know, because I understand domestic violence, it's something I do some volunteer work in that movement. It's very, very controlled. It's not about somebody having an anger management problem. And so this is just very, very sad. I hope that Kristen Evans can get the help that she needs and that she will be safe in the weeks to come as this case progresses. Mark O'Mara, it is always a
Peace community, peace community. If you're new, welcome to the community. If you're a part of the community, welcome back. Shout out to Aunt T on the pull up. Shout out, shout out, shout out. Make sure y'all going over there and checking out the channel. Yeah, man, we've been covering a couple of things on the Zac Stacey case. I look forward to us putting our minds together on this case and some of these things of how these things end up going wrong and as wrong as we've seen them become right now in front of our faces, right? We see that he posted a bond for I think 10,100 and I think 10,000 and change, over 11 around $11,000, and he posted bond. We did hear the victim say that she was petitioning for Roger Goodell, who is the person who runs the NFL, to find ways to help NFL players during or after their careers as well, maybe. But I know probably during. She's probably referring to with anger management issues and different things like that. We heard the news anchor that's speaking right now on Court TV, say that, her being around domestic situations and her volunteering work, she didn't say that she was a professional, but she said it's more than just anger issues. A lot of times it's about control as well, So tell me how y'all feel about that. I've been covering situations like this. I just posted a guy, he goes by the name of Freeze, and he also he's a YouTuber, and he also had a situation go like something like this one, but not. But who's to say what's not, or what is, because it's violence, it's abuse. Only the person in the situation can see. We didn't get to see all of the details of that situation, but it led to a couple of conversations and panels that we've been having here on One Community. Shout out to everybody that's been a part of them so far. So we're going to be putting together some great topics, some great panels, man, and talking about stuff like this, domestic violence. I've been talking about narcissism and the signs of understanding narcissistic abuse, or the signs, the understanding that you're with a narcissist. And sometimes you think of narcissists, you automatically think of a guy, but there's no face on a narcissist. It could be a woman, it could be a man, just like it's no face on a predator. It's no face on an abuser. People, abusers, think that they could get away with something. A lot of times people got to back you down and beat you down in order to stand on anything that they're doing to you. So it's all about us lifting our voices, helping the victims to gain the strength to lift their voices. Our hearts goes out to the victim, Zac Stacey's victim, and any victims in domestic violence and situations like that. I have a series that I've been doing. I'm on episode 4. So, it's going to be live panels, and it's going to be live as well. But I'm also going to be streaming situations that's going to be a part of the lives that I'm actually doing. So make sure you're checking out Domestic Violence Turns Deadly. It's a series that I'm going to be doing here on One Community. Make sure you're all coming and subscribing here to One Community, dropping your likes, sharing, doing all those good things. Checking out Domestic Violence Turns Deadly. Yeah, man, just bringing awareness to situations. A lot of situations that I cover here, it does bring me anxiety. We're in another phase. I'm still going to be trying to give the people the content that they want to get. That's why I'm building other channels like One Community, 2, and News, so you can still get your different things like Young Pharaoh and all the things that y'all want to see. But I most definitely want us, because even when I cover those things, I like to cover it from an aspect that, relating to other people, relating to us as well. Not just covering people's stories and just throwing people under the buses, but gaining, like seeing what can we gain from a story, what can we learn, what I'm saying, how can we be better in some way, what can I learn in a relationship, or what can we learn in anything, in a friendship sometimes, so here in One Community is a research page, I'm saying, me in my life, I'm doing research on my own self, changing things in my life, and and doing things like that. And here on YouTube, we interact with so many people, I'm saying, that it's just good to see how we can connect and how we can link and how we can go about really actually building that one community. One community is not a YouTube channel. It's a mindset, and it's a mindset that I'm trying to get a lot of people just to buy into, because once we buy into these kinds of things, it's not even about a system, but, we believe in systems. But it's just that, there's love, man, and there's love, man. And we have so many commonalities that a lot of times the things that separate us aren't even that definitive. So salute to everybody. Make sure y'all dropping your likes, support the channel. Salute to everybody that's been donating to the Cash App. Salute to everybody that's been dropping super chats, all types of things like that. I salute y'all. Here, I do a lot of things for free. So I appreciate everybody that donates. I'm going to be doing a lot of YouTube tutorials, different things of helping y'all grow y'all channels and letting y'all know some of the things that help me to grow maybe so fast. Maybe it's me, maybe it's some other things, but I was following a lot of little things that I learned as well. So I look forward to letting y'all know about some of those things, and look forward to y'all telling me if it's helping y'all to grow. So this is what it's all about: us growing, us bringing awareness, us helping people to lift their voices, especially helping victims to lift their voices, not trying to blame victims or shame victims, not trying to just turn victims into perpetrators. Everybody's trying to look, really just trying to build, man. So salute to everybody that's a part of One Community. Salute to everybody that's a part of the new One Community. It's nothing but love. Nothing but love. We got one love, one voice, one community. I appreciate everybody, and I will be updating y'all more on the Zac Stacey. I do want y'all to go check out a couple of panels that I have. One with toxic relationships. I did a panel a couple of days ago, toxic relationships. I would like for y'all to go and check that panel out. And I would also like for you to go and check out the next panel that I did before that panel, which was about submission. So I want y'all to go and check both of those panels out. Shout out to Cartoon Cat. Cartoon Cat and I was over there on both of those panels. We got a couple of other lives that we're going to be doing as well. So make sure y'all going to Cartoon Cat, subscribing to my girl over there, making sure you turn the notification bells on, because she got a lot of good things that she's going to be doing too. So, we ain't going to let no cats out the bag. So all we doing is working. That's what we doing in One Community. You working, I salute you. If it's things that I could do, you just got to hit me up, communityliving@gmail.com. Again, communityliving@gmail.com. Make sure everybody's going to check out my website, www.don'thidetheplug.com, and get your merch.
Video is sponsored by our first ever sponsor, Don't Hide the Plug. Don't Hide the Plug is an apparel company co-founded by two brothers from Flatbush, Tafari and Rossi Harper. Now, these two black brothers have created an amazing, inspiring, high-quality brand. Now, you see on Infominds, a lot of our content is New York-based. We love New York, so it's only fitting that we partner up with a New York-based brand, Don't Hide the Plug. Now, they got some fire fitted hats, hoodies, T-shirts, and I'm feeling the old New York design with the bridge logo. They got the clout joints, the dad hats, and you can also have them delivered to you in the resealable merch by the pound bags, too. Now, mind you, they might be New York-based, but their apparel is for everyone, whether you're from New York, Miami, Texas, Chicago. It's a grassroots movement. Get in tune. And they offer free shipping on all domestic orders of $75 or more. But if you enter the exclusive Infominds promo code, you'll get an additional 10% off at checkout. You already know I ordered my package. My package is on its way. So I'll be wearing and showcasing the Don't Hide the Plug apparel in my next live. Go out and support these brothers. Check out their website. I put the link in the description box. Don't